When Michael Jordan first entered the NBA, everyone knew he was special. But no one, no coach, no fan, not even his teammates, could have imagined that he would become the greatest basketball player of all time. He was talented, no doubt. But what set him apart wasn't just skill. It was hunger. Drive. The relentless pursuit of greatness. People say legends are born. But Michael? He was forged. Every time he stepped on the court, it was as if he had something to prove, not to the world, but to himself. He didn't just want to win. He wanted to dominate, to redefine what was possible. His confidence was unshakable, his swagger unmistakable. It wasn't arrogance, it was belief. The kind of belief that makes people unstoppable. Michael didn't just play basketball. He attacked it. Every dribble, every shot, every second on the clock was a chance to show the world that they'd never seen anything like him before. Defenders? He didn't just beat them. He broke them. Mentally, physically, spiritually. Teams tried everything, double teams, traps, switching matchups, but nothing worked. Michael found a way. Always. Coaches, commentators, and even his rivals began to admit it. This wasn't just a star in the making. This was something else. Something bigger. He had the best offense, the best defense, and the most competitive fire the league had ever seen. You couldn't measure it in stats. You saw it in his eyes. You felt it every time he touched the ball. Michael Jordan didn't play the game like the rest. He elevated it. He made basketball poetic, explosive, unpredictable. He made us believe we were witnessing something we might never see again. And deep down, everyone watching knew it wasn't just greatness. It was history being written one highlight at a time. At his peak, Michael Jordan was more than just the best player in the NBA. He was a force of nature. Unstoppable, unbreakable, and untouchable. Every night he stepped onto the hardwood, he wasn't just looking to win. He was looking to conquer, to crush spirits, to leave no doubt in anyone's mind who the king of the court was. He wasn't built like a big man. He didn't rely on sheer size or strength. What he had was deadlier, precision, grace, and that killer instinct. He moved like a predator, reading the floor, hunting weaknesses. Give him an inch, and he'd take everything. Try to double-team him? He'd split you. Trap him? He'd fade away before you even blinked. Defenders fear him, not just because of what he could do physically, but because of how he played with your mind. He knew how to get in your head, make you second-guess your moves, hesitate just long enough for him to strike. And when he locked eyes with you, that was it. You were done. That look, cold and locked in, it told you the next possession was his. There was no stopping it. Jordan didn't have off nights. He had off quarters, maybe. But the moment the game got close, the moment it mattered, he rose. Every time. He was the calm in chaos, the fire in crunch time. Down by 10, up by 20, it didn't matter. Michael played with the same intensity, the same edge, the same mission. Even when facing the league's toughest defenders, he didn't flinch. He welcomed the challenge. He thrived in it. Some called it arrogance, but the truth was simpler. Michael Jordan just knew who he was. And he knew you couldn't stop him. His mid-range jumper was pure. His footwork flawless. His hang time seemed unreal, like he existed in a different dimension for a few seconds longer than everyone else. Whether it was a baseline dunk, a fadeaway over two defenders, or a reverse layup that left you wondering how it even happened, Michael made the impossible look routine. And it wasn't just offense. He'd lock you down on defense too. He was as vicious on that end of the floor as he was with the ball in his hands. Steals, blocks, pressure. He did it all. And he made it look easy. Players who once dreamed of guarding him ended up haunted by the experience. Coaches ran out of schemes. Fans ran out of words. Broadcasters tried to capture it. But how do you explain something that feels more myth than man? Michael Jordan wasn't just the most skilled player. He was the most ruthless. He wanted to beat you, but more than that, he wanted you to know you never stood a chance. That's what separated him. That's what made him feared. And that's what made him great. Because when you played against Jordan, you weren't just facing an opponent. You were facing destiny. There are great players, and then there are moment makers. Players who don't just perform, but define time itself. Michael Jordan was that player. When the game clock ticked towards zero, when the pressure was highest and the noise reached a deafening roar, he thrived. Jordan didn't fear the final shot. He lived for it. From regular season battles to playoff wars, Michael had a knack for turning ordinary games into historic events. He had this calm that washed over him in critical moments. While others tightened up, he locked in. The crowd could be hostile, the stakes could be sky-high, but for Jordan, everything slowed down. All that mattered was the ball, the basket, and the space in between. Game after game, season after season, he delivered. You didn't hope he'd hit the shot, you expected it. The crossover, the elevation, the release, it was poetry. And the results were inevitable. He'd rise, the crowd would hold its breath, and the ball would splash through the net like it was destiny. And it wasn't just the makes, it was how he made them. The shot over Craig Ello in Cleveland. The shrug against Portland. The flu game in Utah. Moments that felt scripted, too perfect to be real. But they were. Because with Jordan, the spectacular was standard. His performances in the playoffs weren't just good, they were legendary. 50-point nights. Game-winning daggers. Series-clinching buzzer beaters. The more intense the situation, the more dangerous he became. And no matter how tough the opponent, Jordan always found a way to rise above. In the 1997 NBA Finals, sick with the flu and barely able to stand, he dropped 38 points on the Utah Jazz. Sweating, staggering, but still attacking. That game became more than basketball. It was a symbol of willpower, of heart, of what it meant to refuse to break. And then, 1 year later, his final shot in a Bulls uniform. Game 6 of the 1998 Finals. Clock winding down. The Bulls down 1. Jordan strips the ball, glides up the court, crosses over Bryon Russell, and rises up for a jumper that would seal his 6th championship. One last shot. One last masterpiece. And like always, it was perfect. That moment wasn't just a game winner. It was the exclamation mark on an era. A farewell to dominance that few have ever matched. A snapshot of everything Jordan stood for: grace under pressure, total control, and the absolute will to win. In those moments, Jordan wasn't just a player. He was a standard. He was the measuring stick for greatness. Every young star coming up knew the bar had been set, and it wasn't just high. It was Jordan. No matter where you were, living room, stadium, locker room, if Michael had the ball in the final seconds, you stopped everything. Because you knew something unforgettable was about to happen. He didn't just play the game. He immortalized it. When Michael Jordan walked away from the game, twice, he didn't just leave behind stats, trophies, or highlight reels. He left behind a legacy that still pulses through the heart of basketball today. He didn't just raise the bar, he became the bar. The name every rising star is measured against. The silhouette that inspired a generation to fly. 6 NBA championships. 5 MVP awards. Countless game winners. But Jordan's greatness goes far beyond the numbers. His impact wasn't just in what he did, but in what he made us believe. That greatness wasn't reserved for the few. That with enough work, enough obsession, and enough heart, you could transcend the limits of what anyone thought was possible. He became a global icon. Not just a basketball player, but a symbol. A brand. A movement. Kids from Chicago to China weren't just watching him, they were becoming him in driveways, on playgrounds, in arenas. Tongue out. Fadeaway jumper. Imaginary buzzer counting down. He wasn't just admired. He was emulated. And those Air Jordans? They weren't just shoes. They were statements. They told a world that you dreamed big, played hard, and believed in yourself, just like Mike. But behind the legend was a man obsessed with winning. Obsessed with improvement. A perfectionist who demanded everything from himself and everyone around him. He wasn't always easy to play with, but that's what made him great. He wasn't chasing applause. He was chasing excellence. And when he found it, he never let go. Even after retirement, his influence didn't fade. It expanded. Through ownership, mentorship, and legacy, Jordan shaped the NBA's next generation. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and every other player who chased the title of the greatest all knew the mountain they were climbing. And at the top, always stood Jordan. He showed us that greatness isn't just about skill. It's about sacrifice. The hours alone in the gym, the pain you fight through, the losses that haunt you, and the fire that never goes out, even when you've won it all. Michael Jordan didn't just play for championships. He played for history, and he wrote it with every dunk, every steal, every shot at the buzzer. He turned games into stories, moments into myths, and a sport into a stage for the world to witness greatness in its purest form. Even now, decades later, his name echoes louder than ever. You still hear it when a kid hits a tough shot. That's Jordan. You still see it in the eyes of players chasing a legacy of their own. And you still feel it in the pulse of the game every time the lights dim, the anthem fades, and tip-off begins. Because Michael Jordan didn't just define an era. He defined greatness. Forever.